Yes guys, welcome back to another episode of the MONOPOSTO track guide series. Today we have episode 10. I had to try and remember for a second, and we are going to be taking a look at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. This, of course, one of the most iconic tracks in Formula 1. It's a track that I quite enjoy driving, so I'm looking forward to this one. There's been a bit of a lengthy break in the last week or so because of videos, and I just frankly haven't had time to make them. So as much as I wanted to, unfortunately, I just haven't managed to find time in my schedule to get them out. So it's a bit of a shame. This track guide was recorded quite a long time ago, but only now I've had time to edit it. So without further ado, be sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this series, and let's get straight into it. Here we are in the pit lane in Montreal, and obviously, as we do at the beginning of all of these episodes, we are first of all going to talk about setup. So Montreal is quite a low downforce setup. Obviously, brake balance, suspension, that is not really going to find you a lot of time in this game. Whatever you do, it's the wing setup is the main thing that you need to focus on. So I would recommend having the slider about level with the letter W at the beginning of wings, where it says wing setup. That, I think, was a fairly good guideline. That's what I used for my hot lap. Obviously you can experiment, try something different, but as I said, I think that has worked best for me in this relatively low downforce track. A lot of the lap taken at full throttle, and that starts at the final chicane, which you just effectively need to ride over these curbs as you prepare to start the lap. High speed chicane into the wall of champions doesn't really exist in this game, as there's just grass on the right hand side. Across the line you want to be up into ARS by this point and getting towards turn 1. This is a very tricky brake zone. This is one of the trickiest brake zones and traction zones in the entire game. There is no brake marker, so obviously it can be very difficult to judge where you want to brake. However, one thing you do want to do is you do not want to get on the power during this second corner, because it means that you can just quite easily spin out if you get on the power too early. So in actual fact, what I'd recommend you do is you brake at the start of the blue runoff on the left hand side. Through this bit you want to be completely coasting. You would brake before this corner and just let the car coast, possibly brake again. You can ride the inside curb if you want to. I probably would avoid it if at all possible. You can use the blue runoff on the left hand side there on the exit to try and get you a better exit. As we now head down to this right left chicane, that is just a lift. Apart from that, you can take it completely flat, and then you want to be back onto the power. Getting towards that green overbridge is where you want to stop deploying ERS if you are manually deploying it. And then for this next corner, again, this is a corner that really catches me out easily because of the amount you actually have to turn in, and also how early you have to turn in. It's a sharp 90-degree left with braking at the 50-meter board. You want to make sure your car's as far right as possible on the entry. Ride over the left-hand curb, and you can use the right-hand curb to help you on the exit as well. You'll get DRS open up into ERS, and then it's just taking the path of least resistance down towards this next corner. It's a pretty short lap here in Montreal. You want to be, it's just the 50-meter board is where I use, or I wouldn't go any later than that, and it's just 2 dabs on the brakes, and then bang, you're straight back in to the, just straight back on the power. I've clearly forgotten how to commentate these videos. You can ride over these curbs, use as much of these curbs on the right or the left as you possibly like. Use all of this. I would avoid using the blue runoff because I think there's a tiny patch of grass just between the runoff and the curb. So as you get to the next hairpin, again, 100-meter board too early, 50-meter board too late. This is guesswork. This is just all about practicing where you feel most comfortable braking and finding a very rough estimate for you. So if you brake at the 50-meter board, you can see that's far too late. You can't get the car slowed down. You just run wide, you'll spin out on the gravel. So yeah, this is just complete guesswork, but somewhere between the 100 and 50-meter board, you want to brake in a straight line, get towards the corner, ride over this inside curb, and then you want to come wide on the exit to make sure you use the outside curb and the blue runoff if you want to. Straighten up the car up into ERS, straight on the power. DRS will be open. Take the path of least resistance, so by that I mean using all of this blue and green runoff here, then coming back to bring your car to the left hand side of the track in preparation for the final chicane once again, which is just 2 dabs on the brake at the 50-meter board, and then you're effectively just letting the car roll through the 50-meter board. If you're not as confident at braking, just before the curb on the right hand side disappears off camera, that's when I would brake. I would try and avoid riding the inside curb, and I wouldn't ride any curb on the exit. I'd just make sure you use the full extent of the track without going onto the grass. And that's about it. That's a lap of the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It's very short. It's not too difficult. One of the easiest circuits to master. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.